subclasses as well. What is the first subclass we should talk about in class? Like, should we go for the Bard?
Let's go for the Bard.
Okay, tell me about the Bard.
So in this article, you're going to see a revised version of the entire Bard class. So going from first level all the way to 20th level, and also a new version of the College of Lore subclass. More Bard subclasses will appear in a future Unearthed Arcana. But here we wanted to get people's impressions of the base class itself, which does require at least one subclass being present, because at several levels, of course, you get subclass features from your class.
Yes.
And so the College of Lore is the subclass first out of the gate for the Bard. And what people are going to see in this new take on the Bard are many of the things that people already love in the class: bardic inspiration, the spell casting, magical secrets. Those elements are all still here. But there are also some exciting new things. One of those things is now Bard subclasses, like everyone else's subclasses, give you 4 features instead of 3.
Right.
So that's not only a change to the class, but then of course that's necessitating a change in the new versions of the subclasses. So the new version of the College of Lore here has 4 features instead of 3.
Even in my slushy game,
anyone
I gave
might
them
be
4.
curious, well, what does that mean for subclasses for the Bard that are already in print? You can still use them, and this UA explains how. But here we're going to focus on these new versions where, again, subclass for the Bard now gives you 4 features. And there are some new options in features like Bardic Inspiration that I think are really cool. One is, for the first time ever, we have as a low-level feature in a class the ability to heal somebody reactively.
Okay.
So something we're exploring in Bardic Inspiration is giving bards their own way to heal. You're still going to be able to acquire healing spells if you want to as a bard. That has been an option for bards over the last 8 or so years. Still there. But we also wanted bards to have a way to restore people's hit points that's all their own. Also, we wanted to give an option in the baseline Bardic Inspiration feature that was more certain to deliver the goods. And here's what I mean by that. In the 2014 version of Bardic Inspiration, especially before you get any tweaks to Bardic Inspiration from a subclass, it's really easy to have somebody roll that die and have nothing happen.
Right.
Where they rolled it, it still failed, and you move on, and next time you get a better result.
Bards, which
we wanted there to be an option for bards that when they use Bardic Inspiration,
are the most popular in
they know what it's going to do. And what this reactive healing is if the bard witnesses somebody within a certain range taking damage, the bard, as a reaction, can use their bardic arts to instantly restore some hit points by rolling the Bardic Inspiration die and giving the person back some HP.
I want to see clerics.
But there's more. Even that baseline feature that people are accustomed to of rolling the die and someone being able to add it to, say, an ability check to hopefully turn
I'll talk about that more when we get to
lousy roll
the document.
into a better one, that's also become a reaction. So now, rather than handing the die out and then waiting for a person to maybe remember to use the die or not, now instead,
people forget.
The bard gets to feel like they have more agency in how they use their own class feature. And so if the bard witnesses somebody fail an ability check within a certain range, as a reaction, they can use their Bardic Inspiration, have the die rolled, and potentially turn that failure into a success. Now, as you go up in level in this current playtest version of the Bard, you're also going to have other new tricks for keeping and getting your Bardic Inspiration back. One example of this is at 7th level in the playtest.
It's a resource.
The Bard gets the option now that if your Bardic Inspiration die rolls a 1, the use of your bardic inspiration is not expended.
Oh, nice.
So if you
is
roll,
nice.
oh, darn it, we just got a 1. Well, the person still gets to add that 1 or get that 1 hit point back, but then you still get your bardic inspiration to use again. So there are a number of little things.
I think
like
I would make
that
them turn it
that with
in
potentially big
rather
impact
than
that I think
still
people are
being
going to
able
have
to
a
use
lot
it,
of fun
and you get
trying
it back.
out in this new take on the Bard.
Perfect. Is there anything dramatic that has changed for the College of Lore?
The College of Lore has a lot that is dramatic going on, which is appropriate for the Bard. So much of the Bard is about being dramatic.
Right.
But before I talk about it, there is an elephant in the room for the class overall that we should touch on first.
Okay, let's go ahead.
And that is, Bards now prepare their spells. This is huge.
Okay.
Because
I
in the
redo that
past,
in
Bards
Celestia,
had a
so
fairly limited
no
number
biggie for
of
me.
spells that they would know, and then at certain levels they could change those out. Now, if a Bard player wants to, they have the option of changing the spells they have prepared at the end of every long rest. This has been a very important thing for us to explore in the playtest because all of our spellcasting classes have a lot of often very flavorful non-combat spells available to them. But what ends up happening, we have found, with spells known
No one
classes
takes them.
versus spells prepared classes is the spells known classes, the players tend to gravitate toward combat spells, understandably,
Yes.
so that they have the tool they need when their characters' lives are in danger.
Mm-hmm.
But then that means they often don't feel like they can take some of these really tasty, non-combat oriented spell options. And we want our players to feel at liberty to use those options. And the best way for us to deliver that is allowing our spellcasters to prepare their spells. And so this is something people are going to see not only in the Bard, but also in the Ranger. But we can talk more about that when we get to the Ranger.
Okay.
Really making it so that you can explore the full range of the magical possibilities for your character if you're playing a spellcaster. Now, the College of Lore.
Okay, let's get into that.
So the College of Lore's cutting words, similar to the baseline bardic inspiration, is this reaction now, but instead of to an ally failing in the case of baseline bardic inspiration, or an ally taking damage, it's a response to presumably an enemy succeeding. And so then you reactively use
I
it
like that.
to
All of them are
try
reactions.
to turn their success into a failure. Then, at higher level, this version of the College of Lore can also deal psychic damage to the person that they are rolling their cutting
We'll definitely
words
have to
die
look at that.
against.
Right.
And again, this is all about making sure that the bardic inspiration die really feels like it's delivering the goods. The
Any other highlights?
College of Lore also has a brand new feature called Cunning Inspiration, where they're going to get to roll their bardic inspiration die twice whenever they use it and use the better result.
So advantage
So that
on
is going to be
inspiration.
extremely useful, particularly given the expansion of possibilities for what your bardic inspiration can do.
Perfect. Is there anything else dramatic I should know about the College of Lore?
So every feature in the College of Lore has been improved. I think the only one that is largely what you would expect was the bonus proficiencies one. That's still there. But even their peerless skill is better than it was before. So it's basically
We'll definitely have to
a
look.
fresh coat of paint.
But that is exactly what's
new
next.
tools, new ways.
So, let's cut it there. And we'll switch over. So, yeah. Basic description seems pretty much what we would expect. For me, when I did my rebuild of the Bard for Celestia, because I took apart all the classes and put them back together. Oh, and let's turn the music back on. So you're not just listening to me. But, yeah, I made them experts. In fact, I thought of calling them experts rather than bards. But it was all about knowledge, which seems to be what they're using to link things. But they don't really show that as much, because they still have them singing and dancing and doing verses and rhymes. I got away from the music part of the bard. In fact, I think my bard, my expert bard, is sort of a better base for the new version of Bardic Inspiration they talked about. So, anyway. Yep. Normal stuff. They are D8s, which I think is the same. Obviously, I'm not looking at the normal rules right now. I think these stay the same though. Dexterity, Charisma. Lots less skills. Oh, okay. So these are the ones they suggest. I am not sure I like suggesting skills. Though, I know it's that, choice paralysis. That's what it's called. That's why they're doing this. Personally, I've never had choice paralysis. I just look at my options and take what I like. But then, I used to do a lot of meaty, like, point buy systems in my RPGs. I'm used to having literally unlimited choices. I don't know if you guys have ever played it or even heard of it at this point, but I used to play a lot of GURPS. Yeah, and you could literally build any sort of person or character, and it was all point buy. In fact, the power level was decided by the amount of points that you got to build characters with. And you earned points rather than, like, XP. So, simple weapons, that feels like a downgrade. I would expect them to have at least a little bit more than that. And 3 musical instruments. See, here's another place where my expert is a little bit better than the bard here. Because I had it not 3 instruments, but I think it's 2 tools, and that tool could be an instrument or not. So, they get light armor. I thought they used to get, like, medium armor, but maybe that's just me. I'd have to look. I haven't built a traditional bard in a bit. I'm sorry. I've been making celestial ones for like a year now. So. And short sword is apparently weapon of choice. I don't know. Especially the way they seem to be going, it feels to me like they might want to do like a bow rather than taking a short sword. I don't see bards as being a strength class anyway. In fact, do they suggest what stat you would want? No, I don't see anything that suggests a starting stat, which probably should be in here. So if they happen to watch this, I would suggest putting in a primary stat somewhere, just to get that out of the way. I think anyone who's played with the system for any length of time would probably take charisma. But I don't see anywhere, at least here, at the beginning, that suggests that. Oh, here it is. They do say charisma down here, but I totally missed that. It needs to be obvious. Like, primary stat, charisma. Yeah, you should go like right before the multi-classing and the bard part. Because if you're not multi-classing, why would you actually read this to find out that charisma is the primary ability? Alright, so bardic inspiration, we did see them do that, or talk about that. So it's a reaction, it's still a boost to a, well, they call it a D20 test now. I would call it a skill check, or an ability check, or a check. I don't think it needs to be called a D20 test, but that's just a terminology thing for me. Yeah. But yeah, they can use it. It doesn't give you any, like, limitation. It just says D20 test. I'm not sure if that includes attacks. I think that required, like, an extra feat to do originally in 5e. So, yeah. I'm unclear, and I kind of wish it would. That is one of my favorite things to do with Bardic Inspiration, is use it for attack rolls. It's super helpful there. So, everyone is always happy when they can make that miss suddenly hit. Heal. Yeah, you just roll your bardic die. And you heal by that. I don't know. I want to see Cleric after I see this. Because clerics need to be able to do something like this. There needs to be a base heal on any class that is expected to be the healer. I mean, paladins already get it with lay on hands, which is obviously where this comes from, except it's got a 60-foot range. How are your words as a bard healing at 60 feet? I say that's a bit high, but maybe that's just me. Oh, and they're full spellcasters now. I totally missed that. That is a big change. They were half casters in the previous edition. Yeah, this is a huge change, getting 9th level spells as a bard. At least I'm pretty sure they were half caster. Like I said, I haven't made a bard in what feels like so long. So long. I don't get to play myself too often, since I'm usually the GM. Talking about spells. And they now call cantrips 0-level spells here. But not here. You need to have matching terminology, Wizards of the Coast. Oh wow. But they're limited to divination, enchantment, illusion, and transmutation. Goodbye, blaster bards. Not that there were many blaster spells, but you just basically got rid of any, like, attack spells, basically. I definitely don't like that part. In fact, I did away with separating magic at all in Celestia. So, yeah, anyone can cast any spell in Celestia. But there's a few reasons for that, and I'm not gonna get into it here. But, I kind of prefer my system, gotta say. Then here's the expertise. And they suggest performance and persuasion. I mean, persuasion, definitely a good choice. Performance, if you want to be, that performing bard. Songs of Restoration. So yeah, they have made them into a dedicated healer, mostly. Because you're getting healing word, lesser restoration, mass healing word, freedom of movement, greater restoration. Yeah, this seems weird though. I would expect more access to healing spells. And you made them set levels, which I don't necessarily like. I gotta say. Yeah, that doesn't sit well with me. But I can understand why. Obviously, they are meant to be a healing class. Or at least have very strong healing options. They're a support type, basically. And they're going sort of hard in on that. Then you get your subclass feat, Jack of all trades, which is super useful. Especially when you have them going heavy into, charisma abilities. So, yeah. By default, they don't get things like acrobatics, which I like on a bard, gotta say. I want them to be agile and adept. More bardic inspiration. Go on a short rest. Is the original on a short rest? No. Yeah. I would just let him have it back on any short rest. And this is where you get into the rolling a 1 thing. And you know what? I'll talk about it here. But for me, I really feel like you should be able to toss out a bonus and go, here, Jake, have this bonus. And they should be able to look at the roll, go, nope, I don't need that, and give it back to you. And you just get it back. But that, to me, feels like how that should work. Not, you get a roll of 1, and they just don't use the bardic inspiration. Yeah. I also don't like calling it inspiration when there is another inspiration system. That feels kind of jank. Wait. I'm assuming that you're assuming that the background gives us more skills. Because you have 2 here and 2 here, but you're only giving the class 3 skills up here. So hopefully, you do get some more. Magical secrets. So I guess this now, rather than letting you have higher level spells, gives you access to a more complete, because from any school of magic, rather than the 4 specific ones. But level 11 seems a bit high to finally be able to take, like, Fireball, or, Mass Cure Wounds? Because, you're not getting Mass Cure Wounds, you get Mass Healing Word. And at 6, which is kinda iffy anyway. But, I'm not sold on that. I mean, maybe it'll work. Definitely need to test that one. Then more magical secrets at 15. So you finally get another 2 spells. Wow. 2 whole spells at 11th and then at 15th. Which can be from anything. I mean, it's definitely got potential, but at 15th level, you're already up to 8th level spells. And once you get to 9th at 17, there's literally no reason to use anything except Wish. If you can use Wish, you can just duplicate any other spell. Unless I've changed that. Alright, Superior Bardic Inspiration. Okay, so more uses because you regain them whenever you roll initiative. That doesn't really feel like a capstone to me. I wouldn't even call that Superior Bardic Inspiration. Maybe Bardic Inspiration Regeneration? I mean, that's what it is. It's regeneration of your points. So. And then they want to have you take the Epic Boon of Luck. We'll have to look at those a little bit later. So I'm assuming these are additive. So, yeah. You get... Yeah, see? Not even a cantrip that is a basic attack spell. I don't like that. It feels weird that you need to have a weapon to be able to attack. If you're a caster type. I feel you should always be able to have some sort of attack cantrip. You know, your basic firebolt or, you know, ray of cold, whatever you want it to be. But definitely something that is an attack. Just so you will always have a magical attack you can use. Vicious Mockery isn't, I mean, it's sort of an attack, but it also uses your reaction, unless I've changed it. Or is it? Am I thinking of the... I think that might be the subclass that I'm thinking of, which has an ability very much like Vicious Mockery. I wish this was linked so I could just click on this and go to the spell, because I know it's in here. You know what? We're gonna go down and see if I can find it. Now, they're listed in here, but apparently they're not all described. Or they're not in order. So, let's scroll back up. Oh, here we are. Anyway, if this is an attack spell, I guess we're okay. But I definitely don't want it to be a reaction. There's so many things you're already doing as reactions. And it feels like you definitely don't want to be in the main fighting. You want to be back farther. So you want to have, like, ranged, like, weapons. And not get right up in their face. Not with this list. Dissonant Whispers is nice. Obviously, Healing Word, because you get it for free. I'm not sold on Charm Person. I know it's popular, but I don't know. I don't think it should be there. Suggestion might be a better option as far as I'm concerned. Blur and Shatter are definitely solid if you want to be a blaster. And Shatter is apparently your first real... I mean, Dissonant Whispers is a combat spell too. And I'm assuming that's Divination? Conjuration? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what category it falls into. I would have to look. So I guess you do have some. I mean, no fireballs, obviously. Since we can see 3rd level is Haste and Tongues. And Major Image. I don't know. That doesn't feel good to me. I mean, you're definitely supposed to be support. But sometimes the best part of support is when you can do a Thunder Wave. Or, you know, something else that can push people around, do other things. And I personally don't like polymorph. Wow, message. Yes, at 10th level, you finally want message. Sorry, that one just feels strange to me. Super strange. I get Irresistible Dance. But that feels like a kind of weak option. It's probably one of your only options. But I don't know. I hope they change Power Word Kill. Maybe it's just me, but I do like the older version of the Power Word spells from like 2nd edition. Bonus proficiencies. Oh, you get 3. Ironically, just like your base class. I'm not sure why the Bard would take nature. But, sure. Arcana, I would definitely have expected earlier. And history. I mean, Arcana and history definitely feel bardish to me. Okay, so this lets you turn an enemy's roll into a failure. Potentially. And it does affect attack rolls, which is what I wanted to know earlier. So I'm assuming as being a D20 check, that this is a subset of that. So I guess you can use it for attack? They're not very clear in that. I mean, maybe they list it somewhere, what they want the definition to definitely be, but I don't see it here. I wouldn't call this cunning inspiration. I would call it... inspiration advantage, probably? That's more descriptive of what it is. And then you deal psychic damage. I feel like that is something we've seen before. I don't even know why this should be a thing. Basically, all this says is that at 14th level, way high up, you can use Bardic Inspiration on yourself. I mean, I would give you that at 3rd level. Yeah. I would redo all of these, frankly. This feels like it shouldn't definitely be there at all. It's like a 3rd level ability at most. I don't know. I might take cutting words at like level 6 if I were to switch things around. I mean, maybe advantaged inspiration as your 14th level ability? It doesn't feel like a good capstone for the subclass either, but it's better than that. Yes, you can finally use your inspiration on yourself. Yeah, that's not the way to cap an ability or a subclass. Yeah. Alright, so, we're gonna look at the ranger next. But give me 1 minute. I want to use the restroom. I'll be right back. And we're back. So, let's take a look at Rangers, or at least the video.